and welcome to RAC Presents Travel and Tourism. I'm Lucia Torsha-Thompson, and I'm the coordinator of the Travel and Tourism program at Reading Area Community College. This program is dedicated to presenting you, the home viewer, a glimpse of places as far away as today's destination and as close as the next county. As always, if you have any questions or comments throughout the program, please call in. The number is on your screen, or it will be on your screen. It's 378-0426. Today's topic is Australia. And with me to give us a personal look at the land down under is Mr. Jonathan Urich. He's a consultant at International Cruise and Travel. And you have visited Australia, so you can give us a little bit of information on it. The continent of Australia has done well for itself. In the mid-1800s, the British colonists thought the only thing it was good for was a penal colony. It's very easy to understand why. Much of the land is very bleak, and there's a lot of desert, and even now most of the population lives in only 5 cities. But today, the British join tourists from the rest of the world to enjoy Australia's unique attractions and first-class accommodations and transportation. International flights from all over the world land in Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and some of the other cities. The flight to Australia, however, is rather long. You'd leave New York at 8 o'clock in the morning, and let's say you're leaving tomorrow morning. You wouldn't arrive until 8:30 in the evening on Saturday. Now, this time frame includes a connection in Los Angeles, which is usually the way to go. You make a connection, spend a few hours. Some people even want to spend a few days before continuing onward. But in Los Angeles, you'd be on the ground for about 2.5 hours, and then you continue on. So you see, it's a really long flight. The airfare is a little under $2,300, and that includes your taxes, round trip from New York. And U.S. citizens need a valid passport and a visa to visit Australia. Regional carriers will provide frequent air service to most points, but these too can be on the expensive side. Therefore, a more reasonable alternative includes bus service and rail service. However, if you're going to take the train, you have to be careful because the rail size often varies from one state to another, necessitating a change of trains more often than you think. Now, speaking of states, let me just show you the map of Australia, and you'll see that Australia has 7 states, and it's politically much like our country. We're set up with the central government and the states. And you have Western Australia, you have the Northern Territory, here you have South Australia, there's Queensland, there's New South Wales, Victoria is down here, and then there's the little state called the Australian Capital Territory, where that's basically like our Washington, D.C. Now, I want to show you something real odd. If you take the map of Australia and you basically turn it around, you want to show the map again? Doesn't it kind of look like the United States? Australia isn't too much different than the United States, is it, John?
No, it certainly isn't, Lucy.
John, you visited the cities of Perth and Fremantle. Let me just show the audience where Perth is located. It's on the western coast in Western Australia, way down here. And from my research, I found that Perth, I've never been there, but Perth is similar to San Diego in both climate and scenery. It's clean, and it's a progressive city that serves as the capital of Western Australia. And Western Australia happens to be 3 times the size of the state of Texas. Now, the city doesn't offer much in the way of sights per se, but there is a shopping arcade, splendid beaches, and a relatively undeveloped park. There's a casino, and you can also take excursions to nearby nature areas. So, John, do you want to tell us a little bit about Perth and maybe show us some photographs that you took while you were there?
Yes, Lucy. Right here. I visited Perth and Fremantle while I was in the service in 1989. And what we have for our first picture, I was on board the USS Ranger, and we sailed into the port of Fremantle. Now, Fremantle is the city where the yacht for the America's Cup races is kept.
And Fremantle is just immediately south of Perth.
Immediately south. You can reach Perth by railway, which we did. It was the railroad station was very close to the pier. It was about $4. It's about a half-hour train ride to the center city of Perth. As you said before, Lucy, Perth does have many attractions. One thing that for the shopper, if they want to have a good time shopping, that we have here a picture of the Hay Street Shopping Mall, and that is part of London Town. It has a very British feel to it, or look to it. It's located in the Hay Street Shopping Mall, which is in downtown Perth. A lot of bargains can be had there, and one of the things that the tourists should know is if they go shopping in Australia, they want to, as you know, Australia is known for its sheep raising. You can get sweaters, car seats or car covers for your car seats, and also gems and opals. Western Australia is known for its gems and opals, so you can get good deals down there.
Is it a very large shopping arcade?
It's fairly large. It's about what we'd have equivalent to one of our malls around here, and it's in the center of the city, so yes, it is quite large. Right here is a picture of Perth. That's the city of Perth, and that picture was taken from King's Park. Now, King's Park is an area that has a lot of memorials to war heroes, and you can see a lot of cannons, and it's very nice with all the palm trees and all. From this picture here, we're looking down. This river here is a Swan River. The Swan River has a lot of places where you can rent bicycles and tour the city. It's very good for the active person. While we were in Perth, we took a destination to one of the many game preserves. This gentleman owned a game preserve in Australia, and we've seen a lot of the unique fauna that's native to Australia. I want to show the people this. This is a picture of the Tasmanian devil, like the cartoon character, but it doesn't really spin around like they show in the cartoon. It's a rodent, and it's a very vicious animal. And what the person who owned the game preserve, what he did was he just stuck his foot a little bit into the cage, and it let out a really vicious snarl. So you don't want to really mess around with one of these.
So it's a really big understatement to say that they don't like to be petted.
Yes, and it's their bite radius, or the pressure on their biting is like 10 times what a pit bull would be. So it's a very vicious animal.
Oh my goodness.
And again, any visitor to Australia likes to see the koala. This was in another one of the preserves. They have, it's a very rare animal. It's on the verge of extinction, and they want to make sure they keep it, the population up, so they have special places for them. Here's something you don't see in Berks County every day, but this is a picture of a kangaroo crossing. When you go to Australia, you have to really watch out because they go around, and you can see them jumping around in big groups, so they want to make sure they want to keep their population up also, because that's on the extinct list also.
And their highway system, is it?
It's very comparable to what we have in here in the United States, but I want to mention to the person who wants to rent a car in Australia, there are certain cautions. And one of those is you have to, if you're going to rent a car, you must make sure you have the right insurance, or you want to make sure what is included with the insurance. For example, a lot of companies down there have four-wheel drive in case you want to discover the outback. Now, the outback is very rugged terrain. They have four-wheel drive vehicles, and what you want to remember is you want to make sure you have the correct insurance in case something happens, obviously.
Right.
You can be covered for it. Also, unlike in this country, we have different signs that tell us what the rules of the road. For example, we have yield signs. We have to yield for people when we're coming into a highway or from a ramp.
Right.
What they have down there is called a give way sign. So the person who travels to Australia wants to make sure they understand the rules of the road. Anybody can go down there with an international driver's license, but I just want to point that out to caution them.
Do they drive on the same side of the road
No,
you
they
do?
they drive on the left side,
On the
just
left
because
side.
they have the British influence there.
Hmm.
So they drive on the left side of the road.
So you have to be real careful.
Oh, very careful. But their highways are very modern. They're unlike what some people may say. They're paved. But like I said, in the outback, you might run into some dirt roads, and you want to make sure you have the right vehicle for that if you want to explore. This is a picture. It's a rare animal you don't see. This is called a wombat. A wombat is in the possum family. It's basically a nocturnal animal, but we got this little guy up early in the morning. So